So I didn't get around to doing an end of month's favourites, and I thought I would do a currently loving video because we're almost in the middle of June. I don't know how this is happening. I know everyone says this all the time, it's really monotonous, but seriously, I feel like the older I get, the quicker time passes, and it's the worst. And you do find yourself kind of wishing away time because you're waiting for something, you're looking forward to something, and then it goes too fast. So we're in the middle of June, so it's a little bit late to do May favourites, but these are the things that I've been really enjoying recently, and I'm going to kick off with a couple of random favourites. The first one being my bullet journal. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce. I've heard it pronounced elsewhere. I think this is the time that people have decided to come and collect the recycling. Bad time to start filming. It's like Leuchtturm or something like that. It's this. That is the brand, and it's kind of like the bullet journal brand. You can get a regular notebook, which is the one that I've got. I think the notebook is called 1917. Or you can get the bullet journal, which I believe is from the same brand, but a little bit more expensive. I didn't really see the point in that. The one that I have has got dots. It's dotted pages instead of lined or blank, which works really, really well for the bullet journal system. And I've just been really, really enjoying it. I'm still using my Erin Condren planner. People have asked about that, and I may do an update on my other channel where I post more stuff about this. But I've just really, really liked the versatility of a bullet journal because you can pretty much make it whatever you want. So I've had in here, this was the way, for example, I was initially laying out my days and kind of doing little bits and pieces of I want to do this, I want to do that. I like to write lists, and this is a really good thing for those of you that like lists. Then you can do things like habit trackers. I liked a little bit of practicing handwriting. That seems to be a big thing in the bullet journal community. I got a little bit more experimental with my daily stuff there. Some podcast notes for the podcast I have with Emma. I was trying something called the Miracle Morning, which is very, very difficult, and I'll talk about again at a later date. Again, more of that, and more recently I've gone really, really basic. I've done lots of kind of doodles and things in here, but more recently this is my basic layout, and every single day I have myself like a little page, write down my big list of things that I want to do that day, and at the bottom I've started doing a little journal entry to say what I did that day and kind of feelings, thoughts, etc. I will go into more depth, but that was just a real quick overview for those of you who have no idea what a bullet journal is. It's basically a blank notebook for you to use however you want. There are rules and there are kind of ways to use it in a more standardised way. Lots of videos out there on YouTube and on blogs and stuff. Lots of information to be had if you are interested in starting one, but I absolutely love it. And I've got to say, if I'd found this system first, which is super simple, it's just a notebook, but if I found the community of bullet journaling before the Erin Condren thing, I may not have spent so much money on the Erin Condren system. If you're into stickers and stuff, Erin Condren is great, and I really still like that for that decorative purpose. But I think this, it kind of moves with you, and if you kind of like a lot of change and you want something different all the time, this is perfect. So I've really enjoyed the bullet journal for kind of my list making and my tasks and stuff. And the other random favourite is podcasts. So as I mentioned, Emma from ItsEmChannel, Emma and I have a podcast now that's been, I think we might even have 8 episodes now. I can't remember by the time this video goes live, and I have loved doing this with Emma. Every single week we Skype and we basically just record that call. It's something that we've finally discovered a way of collaborating with each other on a regular basis because we live at opposite ends of the country. We love filming videos together, but it doesn't happen that often, and when we do actually get together, we don't want to just film videos, we want to go out and do stuff and chat and spend time with each other. We don't want to have to set aside hours of that very short amount of time every few months that we get to see each other to film. And so this has been really, really cool for us, and I can't foresee a time that we'll stop doing it, even if you guys aren't listening, because it is kind of a catch-up for us and a nice excuse for us once a week to Skype. And yeah, we've had lots of different topics so far, but we're really enjoying it, and I'll leave the link below if you're into podcasts. We have had some technical difficulties and we're still figuring out the volumes because we are filming kind of across the country, and so it's not quite there yet, but work in progress, and I have been loving listening to podcasts. Before we started, I started listening to the Grace Helbig show, it's called Not Too Deep. Kat Riffick and Ingrid Nilsson have got a podcast called Ladies Who Lunch. I really like each of those shows, completely different. Ladies Who Lunch is very structured and a little bit more informative and formal. Grace Helbig's is like a bit out there and crazy, and that's more kind of my scene. And the one that I'm completely obsessed with is I was like, and what's the name of it? Comedy Bang Bang. And I found that through looking up Ben Schwartz, who is John Ralphio in Parks and Recreations. He's also on House of Lies, which I never got into. But I googled him because I knew he'd been on podcasts, and I started listening to the different podcasts that he'd guested on. And Comedy Bang Bang, he's on a lot. And he's so funny, and I just so fell in love with the format of the show that I've started listening to the ones without him as well. So Comedy Bang Bang is so funny. Would recommend if you just like kind of silliness and chat, and you don't necessarily want to come away with something. I know that one of the reviews that we got on our podcast was people don't want people that are just chatting. A podcast isn't supposed to be people just talking. Someone wants to feel like they've come away with more information. For me, that's not what a podcast is. That's not what I'm looking for from a podcast. That's more kind of an audiobook. I actually really like listening to people chatter, and if I like the people that are talking, I don't really care what they're talking about. And that's kind of like YouTube as well. So they're the kind of podcasts I listen to. If you've got any recommendations, I am all ears because I listen to them all the time. But they're my random favourites. I may do a Kai Flicks in the next month or so. Lots of people have requested it, although hardly anybody ever watches them. They're like my currently watching videos. But the standout of the month has to be Grey's Anatomy, which I've started watching on box sets on Sky. I'm just about to start season 3 and I love it. It took me probably it took me a full season to really get into it, but the first season's only about 9 episodes anyway. And then I was just like, yes, I have to watch this all the time. And I'm really glad there are about 10 seasons to catch up on now, and I'm hoping to completely catch up in order to be watching kind of the final season along with everyone real time. But that's everything that I've been kind of enjoying in a non-beauty capacity. Next I've really tried to pick out some of the stuff that I've been enjoying that's not things that I talk about every single time I film this video, because every time I do a currently loving or a favourites for the month, it seems to be all the same stuff, because I'm not massively adventurous when it comes to beauty products, which is crazy because I try new stuff all the time, but I try it and then I move back to what I'm used to. So I have been trying some new things recently, and one of the things that I have completely fallen in love with is this Avon Skin So Soft overnight treatment. This is something that I was sent from Avon January time, and I just kind of had it in a bag and I wasn't super interested in it. Because I make some videos for Avon occasionally, it's never under any kind of obligation to talk about it anywhere. They just send me these products and I talk about them for them and for their channel. And so the Avon stuff kind of goes in a bag and I pick things out of it as and when I feel like trying something new. And this was one of those things. I'd been out in the garden sunbathing and I felt like my skin needed a little bit of something extra. And so I used this instead of my body cream or body butter at night. And it is not like anything else I've tried. It's more like an oil, goes on really nicely like a body butter, but it just sits on your skin. And in the morning, my skin was so soft, like nothing else. If you've got particularly dry skin, or like at the moment because we've had really nice weather, if you've been sitting out and your skin feels like it needs a little bit of hydration, can't recommend this highly enough. So nice. It's not the kind of thing you would want to wear clothes on top of. It is an overnight treatment, very, very heavy. But it really just feels very, very luxurious, and there's a massive difference in my skin every time I've used it so far. So really enjoying that. Another kind of treatment product is this one, which I've definitely mentioned before. It's the Clearly Youthful Resurfacing, a Retuxturising Glycolic Peel-Off Mask from Superdrug. I've used this loads of times in the past. I repurchased it again recently and it's love all over again. It is a really good peel-off mask. I appreciate a peel-off mask that isn't so thin that you kind of like trying to get rid of all the, and you end up having to wash your face over the basin anyway. This definitely feels, it's thick enough and it sets to a point where you can really peel it off. And my skin feels super, super soft after using it. I've been trying to avoid using it since it's been really sunny this week because glycolic acid and the sun does not really mix, and I already have this pigmentation around my eyes here and lots of freckles coming out. So I'm trying not to use it right now. But if you are using something like this, it's always a good idea to be using a really high factor sun cream. I mean, you should do that every day anyway, but using a high factor sun cream anywhere that you've used it, because it can make your skin a little bit more susceptible to the sun. So that's the only thing that I would say. Otherwise, amazing. I've been doing some different things with my hair recently. I did my hair damage diary update last week, and I have been so happy with the way that it's grown out. I would say, my granddad used to say there's 2 weeks between a bad haircut and an okay haircut, and I would agree with that. because when I first had my hair extensions taken out, I thought, wow, I'm really happy with the length that I've managed to retain, because I really did think I was going to be kind of just below my ear, very short bob, because of the short layers, and I didn't think it would blend at all with the short layers. She did cut this back. This was kind of more to here, and this was like my security blanket. I had one very long piece of hair in the front, and then it went up to a really short level, and it wasn't a level haircut. It didn't look good, but that one long piece of hair, I was just like holding on to it, and when she was cutting my hair, I didn't even notice that she'd trimmed it, and when she'd finished, I thought, oh my god, what am I going to do? Like, that was the hair that I used to blend these short layers, and that first couple of weeks after having the hair extensions taken out and having that haircut, I really didn't like the short part at the front. And 2 weeks later, I feel totally differently about it, and I feel like it has kind of settled in and grown a little bit more, and I love it. I'm so happy with my haircut right now. I still obviously am looking for this section to grow and blend a bit more, but I've been styling it. I never style it. It's straightened right now. I've been using the steam pod, which I do feel like it's not quite as damaging, and it does feel more gentle on my hair. And it's the only hair straightener that I have used since I I was sent it. Since I've been given that, it's the only hair straightener that I've used. But I've also gone back to using Moroccan Oil. And one of the many times I damaged my hair and got it back to a nice state, I actually discovered Moroccan Oil for the first time, and it was one of the first times in years and years I'd actually seen shine in my hair. I remember vividly. It was after having Milo. It was around New Year time, and I had a trim. She put a little bit of oil in my hair, and I was hooked. It was amazing, and ever since then I would use it. Now, for a long time I kind of forgot about it. It was a very expensive thing, and I went off it because I tried lots of other ones and I didn't feel like it was all that much better. But I rediscovered it recently when we went to Disneyland, because I wanted a small thing to take with us for my leave-in conditioner, and I just love it. It smells so good, and it really is a little bit better than some of the cheaper ones that I've used. If you're just looking for an oil, like a bit of a leave-in treatment, then okay, but if your hair really needs something extra, it is worth a little bit more money. I'm not sure if I'd go out and buy the big bottles the same as I used to, because I'm using a very small amount, but these smaller ones, especially if you just want to try it for the first time, aren't too expensive, and yeah, it's a kind of luxurious treat, isn't it? Next, I have a nail polish that I've been using a lot. This is Sugar Daddy from Essie, and I'm wearing it now. It's hardly anything. I've been very focused on kind of the condition of my skin and my cuticles recently. In fact, it's actually chipped. But I've been more focused on that than I have on the actual colours. So I've been not wanting to put major nail colours on, because I don't want to be dehydrating that skin around there with nail polish removers and stuff like that. So I've been using nail polishes that are more kind of manicure, natural, neutral colours, that when they do chip, it's not the end of the world, and it just makes the whole thing look a little bit more polished, but it's not actually a bright colour. I really like this one, and I feel like maybe there's another one called Bubble Bath, but this is the one that I have on my nails right now. Last kind of beauty favourite is this. I've been wearing Pomegranate Noir from Jo Malone since my birthday in February, which was gifted to me by the lovely Mama Fulzo, who I'll link below, and I haven't worn anything since, pretty much. This was my favourite perfume for the longest time. It's Calvin Klein Euphoria, and I was going through my perfumes the other day and I just threw a load out that I just didn't feel like I was going to use. I gave some away that were kind of more expensive and newer that I knew I wasn't going to use up before they went bad, and I put the ones that I still really wanted to keep and use out on my vanity, and this was one of them, and I have completely fallen back in love with it. It's very nostalgic for me. I loved this in my early 20s and I still love it now, but it just kind of reminds me of a certain time in my life, and it's very summery. I love it. So that's it for everything that I've been using. I feel like maybe there's something... Oh, I did want to mention one other thing. Gimme Brow from Benefit, which I know has recently changed, so I will possibly talk about that in a different video. But Gimme Brow from Benefit is literally all I've been wearing on my brows since I had them tinted and waxed, which also was at the Benefit counter. But I have the darker shade on today, and I'm completely obsessed with it. That's all I've been filling my brows in with. I'll probably mention it in empties because I used an entire tube of it up. I think that's the second one that I've used up, which is amazing for me. And I've gone on to the darker shade now, and I just love it so much. I like it for a summer brow as well. I feel like I can get away with a little bit less makeup, a bold brow and a bold lip. It's my favourite summer thing to do. So yeah, that is probably it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I will list everything that I've mentioned below and link where I can, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!